a BIM model, this would come from BIM server.center. I could be using a BIM model or not, right? So if I am using it, I could be getting the geometry of a building from BIM server center. If I had gone through the Cybertherm loads, I could have the thermal loads space by space already there. So I don't have to go defining the power that I need for each space, right? But I could just maybe relied on somebody else to have that information and manually put it, right? So we have these tools here to define the thermal loads or just read them link to. We have tools, of course, to introduce different kind of systems for conditioning, for heating, different possible technologies. And we have the tools for modeling the air distribution, the ducts, basically the ductwork, materials, or terminals, and so on. We have a library of generic elements, and we have a catalog manufacturer area. So we can introduce generic equipment, defining the user on its own, defining the power of or the technical properties of the equipment, or we could rely on the catalogs that we may be downloading. And we have the general options menu to define the calculation, the internal condition, external, so on. But actually, I always like to show this in a visual way and go just make a small installation in ducts. Simple, maybe random installation, not too complex, just to show you what can be done. So the basic concept is we need to have a complete installation. If not, the program warns you, okay, you need to connect like an end to this. Let's go with air terminals, just random grills. So the program snaps the ends of the installation and actually is not hard to just see that I'm watching like a section of the model because I'm in the level 0 view. But if I'm going into the 3D, I can see the whole model. SAP HVAC itself has a quick start guide uploaded in the web page, as you've seen before. So actually that's information on how to use the program in a more like tidy way. I'm just showing you what is the concept. What have I done? 1 second, please. Let's undo. Equipment. Okay, a generic initial point. And that's pretty much it. See that I haven't been concerning about what will be the sizing of this, what will be the pressure drops in each part of the installation to keep the airflow constant. I haven't concerned about the special pieces, the T's, the elbows, the transition elements from one size to the next. So this is what we have these kind of programs for. Actually, we've been saving time in all that, which used to be like manual calculations. And by manual, I mean, again, spreadsheets, like a book, a calculator, the having to draw the CAD of the building again and again, and so on. Right? So we have automation tools here. We just click design. That's pretty much it. If it's blue, it means like I have properly connected all the elements in the installation and so on, and see that we have an output where I have the automatic sizing of the different ducts in order to keep the installation working. And then I have the special fitting species that is automatically generated. In this case, generic elements means that we will be using Ashbryth methods to generate these ones, not only the branch, but also this special element. It's been automatically generated and listed, of course. Right? So once we've done that, we have really interesting professional output, which would be the generation of the plans automatically in 2D, like the traditional 2D plans. They can go into paper or into DWG or PDF, you choose it. We have not only the installation, but the tagging, right? The length of each of the elements, the coding, the cross section, the material, and so on. We could make the building be in the background or make it not be there. So this is automatic generation of plans. Then we may have reports, of course. So we have an analysis element by element with different calculations, linear pressure loss, dimensions, velocity, the length, and so on, element by element, graphical output. Of course, we can send this into the BIM Service Center. So that, as I explained in the beginning of this presentation, we have the possibility of sharing this geometry with anybody, and they don't need to have the SAP HVAC to see what I've done, right? And one of the most interesting part of this kind of programs is the bill of quantities tab. I've just moved here. I'm deleting that to just generate it again. Just as easily as clicking one button here and deactivating everything, what I can achieve is an automatic measurement of the whole project, right? So the model has been read by the program, and it has listed each of the elements that are part of this project, right? The grills, the what is this? 1 second. Oh yeah, the diffusers over there. So you can this goes both ways. You can select an element and it gets snapped here, or you can select it here and it goes highlighted there, right? The square meters of galvanized sheet for these ducts, right? So it's automatically measured. So you just easily are able to introduce a price per unit. So you not only have the project, but also the BOQ in an easy way, right? Actually, this is what we can achieve from SAP HVAC. The same way we've talked about the ductworks, we could be talking about the generation of the air conditioning and the automatic sizing of the power of the equipment according to the thermal loads we can import or just manually define, right? So I always like to do this demonstration because it's really visual. It's not just modeling. The time consuming part of the professional project is not the modeling, it's time consuming. But the fact that I decide, okay, this duct needs to be this cross section size because I need it to have a constant flow here and there. So that is the calculation that takes time. And this is where we save time with SIPE, right? And then we can, of course, just check instead of having to do everything manually, just double check, improve, change, modify, edit as much as you need, right? So this is our concept, the way we approach the projects in SIPE. And I hope that this has been useful for you. I like to leave a bit of time for questions and answers here. So in case you have answers, or excuse me, in case you have questions, we'll be glad to answer. I'm checking if there's questions over there. And I don't know if Paul, maybe you have information to add there in case there are not questions. But I'm glad that you're all here, and it's been a pleasure for me to be presenting today. Okay, I'm seeing the questions. They are more for other people than for me. Great. In case you have questions, please do not hesitate. Maybe you come up with questions like an hour from now, maybe tomorrow, right? Do not hesitate in reaching out. You contact us. Paul will tell you how. And that would be it for today. And if you have any question, we are here now.
Yes, thank you so much, Martin. And yes, I think yeah, I invite everyone. Maybe if you have questions regarding SIPE, our work, and the programs that you've seen and how we use BIM in energy optimization, right? So please let us know now, or we can turn to Pak Andy as well for the rest of the event.
Yeah, just wait for a moment for a question.
I would like to know that this software can simulation the shadow of the surrounding buildings on the project site. And also, if we install PV on the rooftop, is it possible that it can predict the energy generation from the project so we can see the balance between energy consumption and energy generation? Can this software do that?
Yes, I think for that question, yes, this we have particular software that will be able to take care of PV systems. And I think Martin, maybe you have more information as you are more of the expert on these matters regarding as well.
Yeah, I have the information. I'm actually not an expert in within the SIPE programs about the our program PV system that is. But I'll show you right away in our webpage how to access the information. I am I do know about those systems, but it's not my area of expertise here within the company. So 1 second, please. I'm sharing screen again. See if I'm able to, and I'm going to reach our webpage. Maybe clean up a bit my desktop, and we got plenty of questions about this program when we were in Southeast Asia, back there in the Philippines, for example. So this is the one. We have an interesting tool. I'm going to put it into English language, which allows to model and calculate this kind of installations. Maybe we'll put the video, just 2 minutes video, to explain maybe what it's the philosophy. 1 second, please.
And this software is like to purchase and have to write it like for years, or it's a subscription year by year?
So for
That's one
this
for Paul.
question, yes, for commercial licensing, the way our licenses work at SIPE, it's a perpetual license, and
Uh-huh.
each license is, I would say, unique for every user, and it will be up to the user, their company, to tell us, okay, Paul or Martin, I'm working on maybe PV systems. I need only the Cypelec PV systems program in my license. And that is going to be the price for the perpetual license of that particular license. So if in the future you or some other person would be more involved in other matters involving other aspects for electrical installations for low voltage